Welcome to another video on Axis and Allies Revised. This is the end of the German first turn. As you can see, they conquered Karelia, which also gave them the victory city of Leningrad. The Russians had vacated it on their previous turn, thinking they wouldn't be able to defend it anyway. The Germans actually managed to just walk in there. Of course, on the next German turn, the Germans could build a factory there, and the turn after that, they could actually build up to 2 units there, which would probably be infantry units because they're less mobile than the other ones. But anyway, that is something that will probably hurt the Russians. And Archangel, I believe the area is called, yes it is, was also captured because it was vacated by the Russians as well. The Germans did not attack Western Russia. Perhaps because of the anti-aircraft gun that I put there on the previous Russian turn, because they moved some of their tanks here and here as well. They didn't actually have that many tanks left that were able to reach it, and the aircraft were actually used in attacks against the British battleship that was near Gibraltar. And an aircraft also took place in an attack against the destroyer. The transport landed an infantry and a tank in Anglo-Egypt, along with an infantry and a tank in Libya, but they failed to capture it. There is still a surviving British aircraft. On the British turn, however, I'm not sure if they'll actually consider placing a factory there, because on the next German turn they'll be able to land more units, and I don't think the fighter will survive then. In fact, I believe the fighter will probably be withdrawn. But still, for now, the Germans didn't capture it. They built a couple of new tanks, which they placed in Germany. Some of the tanks from France were moved to Eastern Europe, and the Germans built an aircraft carrier, and they landed 2 fighters on it, which is allowed in this game. You can land fighters that were in the area with the factory in it. Well, they didn't start there, but they did fly back there, so I guess that qualifies as well, which makes it a bit more survivable for this fleet. Otherwise, it might be worth it for the British on their turn to attack the fleet. Now, that's something they are probably not going to do, because they won't survive it and they will lose their entire air fleet. So that would probably not be a good idea. And the Germans have 42 IPCs now for their next turn. I think that about covers it all. And the Italians, there are no separate Italians in this game, but consider them Italians. Some units were built here as well, I believe, an artillery and an infantry to keep up the attack against Africa, and perhaps also Transjordan, so as to cut off the Axis line. Well, it is kind of an axis, which is a bit confusing, I suppose, but what I'm trying to say is, as I said in my previous video, it's handy for the Russians and the British to help each other out, shuffling units back and forth between India and the Caucasus. But of course, if the Germans or Italians manage to land here, they can cut that off, and then it will be a bit difficult. Of course, it would be possible to build a factory here in South Africa and also keep the fight going there, which may have to happen if the Germans actually do decide to go this way right away. Perhaps one thing I should mention, these factories and anti-aircraft guns are from the original Axis and Allies game, which was published somewhere in the 80s, but I just like the white ones. So these are the ones I'm using, and the units are actually from Axis and Allies 1942, second edition. So they didn't actually come with this game. But other than that, it's original as far as I know, and it's great to be playing this again after such a long break. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and next up are the British. Thank you for watching.